Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. How's everyone doing today? Let's get through the good mornings. Good morning, Jacob. Hold on. There we go. Hang Seng down like over 9%. Hang Seng down 9%. So, yeah, well, after all the stimulus, up 30%. Oh, boy. It's not going to last. I said that after I did it. This is not going to last. Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Sterling. Where else do we sit? Let's see what else. Thank you again for putting in all the news. Good morning, John. Awaiting geoengineered Milton here in Florida. Geez, these folks are insane. Geoengineered Milton? You think it was an engineered hurricane? Uh, or are you making fun of the people who think it was an engineered hurricane? Oh boy. Yeah, this is not going to be a fun one for Florida. Fed's cooler labor market cooling has started, but the Fed is looking at trends, not a single data point. I disagree. I disagree. If they were looking at trends, they wouldn't have done a 50 bips cut. And I'm tired of all this Fed speak. We got more of it today. When these people just want to hear themselves talk all the time. Do we need this much Feds? Do we need 18 Fed speaks in 1 week? Good morning, Ted. Good morning, Jake. Good morning, Charles. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Royal Palms. Good morning to people hiding in the background. All right, let's take a look. We're still holding the rotation zone. As again, we had Kugler talking earlier. We had exports and imports come out. We had Redbooks. Redbooks still hanging in there, 5.4%. We got Bostic. We got Collins. We got Jefferson. Oh, I mean, for the most part now, it's a very quiet day besides Bostic speaking midday. That's it. So it's a very quiet day. Looking at the map, mega caps pretty much up across the board except Microsoft. Oil finally pulling back after hitting the double target. And that's where we sit. That's where we sit looking at the groups. Let's just refresh this. We got technology leading, but not much. We got basic materials, energy, and consumer cyclical all pulling back. Again, this is a day with based off this little bounce. I'm going to watch to see if it's sustainable into the open or not. Fed Watch tool is still cut. November, December. Fear and greed, still solidly in greed mode. So that's where we stand. Remember, there's no major earnings until Friday kicks off the bank earnings season. The only thing before that, we got Delta and Domino's Pizza on Thursday. So that's where that sits. Again, nothing to really tell. I guess Pepsi. I didn't even look at Pepsi today. Didn't even look at Pepsi. All right, so we still have the little potential mini double in here. Holding the rotation zone. There's still buying pressure. This 57.40, any dip below that, 57.40 to 57.25 is the area of buying pressure. You see all these dips in there. All these dips. Yesterday was an outside key reversal day. Now we are at cycles bottoms. But if the buying pressure, if this area is lost before the double's invalidated, really watch out below because we could take a quick trip to about 56.40. A very quick potential trip to 56.40. Based off today, I'm just, again, looking at the short-term harmonic areas. So 57.77, 57.90. We close about 57.90. I'll start watching then for a retest the higher prices and we'll probably invalidate the potential double, which has not been triggered. But it's like every time we dip below here. So if we do start dipping below 57.40, I'll be looking for short-term support patterns unless we start breaking 57.25 with momentum. Okay, because this will hold until it doesn't. So that's exactly what I'm looking at right there. Good morning, Chris. So, all right. If you want an intermediate level, I'd look at roughly where this 25% harmonic is, because you see all the candle bodies here, and it was a little dip buying before around this 57.50, 57.51 area. For the NASDAQ, remember, we don't have a double, just barely holding on the rotation zone, but the buying pressure in the NASDAQ is about 19,850 to about 19,950. So any dip in there, be watching for bottoming patterns. Now, if we start breaking 19,900 and then follow through with selling pressure on momentum below 19,800, then I'll start watching for the bigger pullback in the NASDAQ. On any rally, 20,175 is the next key target. Then on a closing basis, 20,268 on any more substantial rally. That would take it above the 62.5 harmonic. Good morning, McRangers. The Dow, not much to talk about unless the Dow is really weakening, has not had as much buying pressure. So if we start trading below 42,100 in the Dow, going to be shifting to watching for the bigger pullback. The Russell, very quiet. The buying pressure below this 21,197 area, just barely. Russell does not have a great setup right now. Very key resistance coming in about 22.35. When things don't have great setups in the market, it's nothing that I don't force setups. I just look for something that does have a good setup. So, VIX, pulling back against the little highs from early September, but still watching. If we do lose some of these rotation zones and trigger these doubles, going to watch for what could possibly be a pretty quick increase in the VIX. Other than that, my support level is now back at 20. The DAX, you do have a little mini double. Unless the DAX trades below about 19,025, you have a little mini double potential setup with cycles at the bottom. So for anybody looking at the DAX, 19,377 on at least a 4-hour closing basis is key. Why is that different? There, huh. So it's just a retrace of this move. So potentially keep an eye on that in the DAX. The notes, the futures continue the sell-off. Yesterday closing below key support and the lowest close since the August 8th. Now we do have a clear path move back below and some gaps left behind below here. So this could easily be returning to the area of the 200 and the 50% harmonic, this little area down here. So again, as I said yesterday, on any rallies, we'll be watching for rollover sells. The yields. Look at this, the highest close yesterday since, this is the highest close since August 20, well, really, that we closed above here since August 8th. Highest close since August 8th in the micro yields. Again, magnet price is around 4.165. So on any pullbacks now, if we do get pullbacks, we are at cycle tops and very overbought. I'll be watching for rotations back up. Rotation setups back up. So it doesn't look like yields are going to drop. Mortgage rates going back up. Not good for the housing market, which is already in the crapper. 2 years pausing out a little here. We pulled back yesterday, closing what? What did we close at yesterday? About 08 basis points. Still, we'll be seeing today if we're at cycle bottom. So I'm going to watch for this to climb back up in the 10-2 yield curve. Dollar index. We have a really nice, so far, remember, this is a channeling pullback with daily cycles at the top. So far, we're just ordinary pullback. I'll start watching. If today something happens, I'll watch yesterday's high, because that would be a single pausing bar breakout. But I'm cautious on the dollar because we're at cycle tops and very overbought. Now your still major support is coming in the middle of the rotation zone, back at about 101.40, 101.50 area. So any pullback to there could still be setting up for bounce buys. Good morning, Richard. I'll take a look at Amazon in a bit. Royal Palms. Crude. Crude spiking up, finishing the double. Dunzo. Closing yesterday right at that 200. And not above the 62.5. You see, let me pull off these lines right here. You see the 62.5? No close above it yesterday, so it did not shift the probabilities on a daily basis. Spiking up this morning, but a pretty key reversal with cycles at the top overbought. So now I'm watching for support to come in between about $72 and $73. Where's my $72? So that's where we sit. That's where we sit right there with crude. But we did finish the double play out. Gold, so far, holding the rotation zone. The only thing is we start closing below about 26.35. I'll start watching for the pullback closer to the 50 in the short term. Other than that, this is still a sideways correction. This is a great example of pretty much a sideways correction, because if you take a look at on a weekly basis, look at this. So far, one down week, and we don't know how this week's going to end up, but this is a sideways correction. When you put it in magnitude based off this is not even a big pullback. So we also have weekly cycles at the top, very overbought. So we're trying to burn off some of this short-term overbought condition, at least at the dailies, back to cycle bottoms. If you're looking for something aggressive, I'm going to be watching tomorrow for a potential setup going into the FOMC meeting minutes, the CPI and PPI information. So I will be watching probably today's high tomorrow for the breakout, as long as the rotation zone holds. Where's your John Cusack reference? I want my $72. That's inflation adjusted. That's the newspaper inflation adjusted. Oh boy. Oh boy. It's not $2 anymore. It's $72. All right. The yen, nice pullback. Going to be watching again where cycle top's rolling over, coming out overbought, but watching for the key neckline and support to hold. We've triggered the sloppy inverse head and shoulders. Euro, so far, again, we've triggered the double, watching for rollover plays in the euro. Cycles are at the bottom. We've come off overbought, so, going to still be watching, but it would not even shock me to see a bounce to about 110.40 at all. Bitcoin, not much to talk about. Ethereum, nothing to talk about. The spiders, we'll get through this real quick, then I'll take a look at a couple other things. Again, I'd just be looking at the harmonics. 570 is key. We're looking to open right around there. Next key level is 571.17. On pullbacks, I'd use 568.81, and then the gap fill to yesterday, 567.80. Remember, on a continued rally this week, you still have a gap potential fill to Friday the 4th close. So pay attention to that. If the rally does sustain more, that would also take the double off the table, because this was a big enough pullback that on another rotation back up above the 75 harmonic, the double would be invalidated. The spiders, the same thing. You can put up your harmonics right now. 485.55 area. Then there's still a gap left behind to 487.32 to the upside on any pullbacks. First level, I'm looking at the cluster on 483.50, and then it would be to yesterday's close, 482.10. By the way, NVIDIA, with yesterday's price action spiking up, but not invalidating the potential double top. Not invalidating it. Not saying it might not be invalidated today. A close above or a trade above 130.80 takes this little mini double top, potential double top, off the table. Also, a break above here would be a breakout play, and the next target would be 134.50 from my perspective. Amazon. Amazon. If this does hold and we get a bounce this week, I'd be watching for the little mini double bottom to trigger. Now, a follow through close above yesterday's high would be a potential percent B buy with cycles turning up and could be a front run pattern, especially with a gap left behind. So on something like this, if I was going to play a potential break, above yesterday's high, it'd have to follow through with the close. And then my first target would be for a gap fill to take some partial profits off and trail. Then it could always be a re-add if it moves back above 187.60 with a follow through close. All right, but based off this and breaking down below the rotation zone, that's why I'd be a little more aggressive with raising a stop and taking some off from any unwind pattern. Because if Amazon now, if we don't close above yesterday's high, in my perspective, I'd be watching for a break of yesterday's low and a real quick trick back to this 200 area, and probably even retest this 173.50. So if you don't have any bullish patterns trigger here, I'd be watching for the breakdown. All right. Tesla also has, for those Tesla bulls going into robo-taxi day or whatever it is, you do have a little mini potential double bottom. Okay? And you have a gap left behind with cycles at the bottom. So on any Tesla, especially with a follow-through close on a daily basis about 250.96, you could easily retest the highs from the end of September. Other than that, if that does not trigger, I'm keeping an eye where this closes in relation to this trend line, really about 237 at this point. That's about it. By the way, I'll be on NinjaTrader this morning in an hour and 10 minutes. So if you aren't sick of me yet, you're welcome to tune in on the NinjaTrader live stream, and we'll talk more there. Other than that, I really don't see anything else. There's no other questions. Let's just see what Pep did. Pep. Pepsi. Wow, okay. It was a miss on revenue. Again, remember, revenue is more important. Earnings can be gamed, revenue can't. And a miss on revenue by over 2%. So this is sort of interesting. I think things are starting to take hold. And now if Pepsi ends up not bouncing back and closing below 160, if it closes below 166.61, going to be still watching. The magnet price then becomes this 161 area. So we could see further breakdown in Pepsi and watching for selling any rallies in Pepsi's. And then is a thinly traded stock that triggered a daily weekly double top the week of August 19. Do these more thinly traded stocks? They have thinly traded stocks have lower probabilities because they can whip around a lot more. The probabilities still work, but they have lower probabilities, so you got to be patient. And remember, this being a massive weekly double top could take a long time to play out. So nothing has been invalidated with this. Nothing. Your invalidation point at this point is still on a close above 856 or a trade through 887. There's no stop reduction. So it's just chopping around. Remember, some of these doubles can take a long time to play out. Now, what's interesting is it's not really moving much. And if this breaks down, it will also lose the 200. Then you can see a quick trip down here. So as long as it's not invalidated on a stop basis, it's still a valid trade. You're going to cancel some meetings so you can watch. I just don't think you want to do the meetings, McRangers. Who wants meetings anyways? All right, that's really about it. Thanks for that question, Sterling. And I shall talk to everyone later. See anybody who wants to tune in to Ninja Trader. I hope everyone has a wonderful trading day. Remember, FOMC minutes tomorrow afternoon, and then big guns come out Thursday with the CPI. CPI on Thursday. So don't get lulled into complacency ahead of Thursday. Maybe. Okay, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. I'll talk to you all later. Bye for now.